Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to our cozy little corner of the internet. I'm Pen and today I'll be reading chapter 8 of Turning Tide by Pretty Bean. There is a bit of repetitiveness in this chapter, so just a warning of the last chapter, but it will be a good overview of what happened last time. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy and let's get right into the fic. Chapter 8, The Brightest Light. In the Armed Detective Agency. We can call Koyo from an agency phone, Kyoka. Yoshino says, reassuring the girl that she has nothing to be worried about. Kyoka nods, pulling up Koyo's number to show it to the others. Kunikita quickly types it into the phone. And we discussed about what we're talking about. Anything else to add? Kunikita asked before he actually called. After getting shaking of heads, he started to call the number, placing it on speaker. This is the repetitive section. Hello? Koyo asks, picking up the phone. Hello, is this Koyo? This is the Armed Detective Agency. Kunikita replies back to her hello. Yes, this is her. Who is this? How did you get my number and what do you need? She asks, a bit confused on why the agency was calling her. Ah, yes. Sorry, my name is Kunikita. I'm not sure if we have spoken before. Anyway, we got your number from Kyoka. She said, as for what we want, we just have a few questions. We can make it worth your time. Kunikita says. The others gathered closely to listen. Kyoka stands a bit off to the side. Koyo took a breath. Yes, I'll answer your questions. As for what you'll do worth my time, what my time is worth, we'll figure that out later, she says. After getting a nod from Rampo, he asks the next question. Amazing. Thank you so much. First, wouldn't happen to mind us what caused Mori's death? Kunikita asked, clearly having a bit of worry that she wouldn't answer. Poison, and before you ask, I don't know what kind, other than it killed him in less than 3 hours, she said, waiting for them to continue talking. Kunikita quickly covered the microphone of the phone so they could talk. 3 hours? That must be extremely weak then. That must have made him extremely weak then. Dazai said, shrugging his shoulders. Yes, I agree with Dazai. He should have been able to cure himself within that amount of time. Yoshino says, the two of them being well aware of Mori's medical experience. So, what does that tell us? Tanizaki asked, still confused about everything that was going on. Either the poison was something Mori didn't know existed, hence not being able to make a cure for it, Dazai said, taking a pause, letting Rampo once again finish his thought. Or he had a direct connection to his death, maybe even helping plan it himself. Rampo says, looking almost confused at the possibility that could wait in this case. Rampo had never had so much trouble figuring out a case, but something about this was different. There was almost too many variables. It made it difficult to focus on what was really going on. He knew what the mafia most likely wanted to try to confuse him, as he wouldn't be the first to figure them out. Kunikita looks towards. Wow, okay, sorry, my English is not working today. Kunikita looks towards the ground. Looks towards the other, giving them a signal before he started talking again. I see. From our sources, we have heard that he not only did not have a funeral, but very few people saw his body. If you don't mind me asking, why would someone of his status not have a funeral? And did you get a chance to see the body? Kunikita asked, along with the rest of the agency, hoping she would answer honestly. After a brief pause, Koyo spoke. No, we didn't have a funeral, and you're correct. Not many people saw the body, but I was one of the few. She let out a breath. Would you mind if I pass the phone to Dr. Yoshino? She has some questions for you, Kunikita said. Before they had gotten onto the phone, Yoshino mentioned that if they wanted to figure out what the poison was, maybe getting some details on the body would help. Go ahead, Koyo agreed. Agreeing with her, Yoshino moved closer to the phone, a pen and paper in hand. Hello, Koyo. Yoshino paused. have some questions about Mori's body if you don't mind. Feel free to ask as you wish, she said, still trying to keep herself as professional as possible. What did his body look appearance-wise? Yoshino asked, ready to write down exactly what Koya said the body looked like. He was very pale. It was unlike any other poisoning we've ever seen, so we haven't figured out what it was. Koya figured out the best way to do that. Koya figured out the best way to do this was to be honest. He was pale, no redness around the mouth or anything else like that. Yoshino asked, already very confused. The other agency members were confused as well. Maybe it really was a poison Mori didn't know of. Yoshino had never heard of a poison like that, so she thought it must have come from another country. No, he was simply pale. I think it killed him in around 3 hours, as I said before, Koyo said. I see. How long were you allowed to see the body? Yoshino asked. Maybe could Rampo be right? Could Rampo maybe have been right? Was Mori really not dead? Not long. I saw it when Chuya brought me there, and then once again, maybe an hour later when we brought Hirotsu. What did you guys do with the body? Rampo told Yoshino that this would probably be a good question. It might be able to answer a few of our questions, like why they didn't have a funeral. I'm not sure. Chuya nor Valorine never talked about what they did with the body. I just know that it was there one day and gone the next. Not a single other soul in the Mafia other than the 4 of us got to see it, Kayo said. Kunikida, standing next to Yoshino, once again covered the phone on the microphone. So, what now? Kunikida said. So, now what? Kunikida said. No, wanting to know if there were any last minute questions I needed to ask. I think we went through everything, Major, Yoshino said. I'm thinking the poison was from another country, so I'll look into it. She looked around the room to the others to see if there was any disagreement, which there was none. Once it seemed like they were done talking for now, Kunikida looked towards the group for a double check, then removed his hand and began to speak. Thank you, Koyo. Is there anything as of right now we can do for you? Kunikida asked, being put back on the phone. Koyo paused. Let me speak to Dazai for a second? Of course, Kunikida said, following with the shuffling in the background. Dazai walked towards the phone, placing her hand over the speaker. Can I speak to Annie-san off speaker? The others answered with a nod. Dazai turned the speaker off and picked up the phone. With the phone now off speaker, the agency members could only hear what Dazai was saying. Annie-san, you wanted to talk to me? I'm flattered, Dazai said, acting like his usual annoying self. You visited Chuya the other day, right? She asked, jumping straight to the question. I did, Dazai said, his tone getting more serious after hearing her question. I figure you're already on it, but find out what's really going on. Chuya passed an order this morning not to have any contact with the agency despite the truce. Koyo said, laying everything out on the table. I promise you, Annie-san, we will save him. I'll let you go. This couldn't have been a safe call for you to have. Dazai said, hanging up the phone quickly, placing it back down. Here is where the new stuff starts. Well, that was fast, Atsushi said, confused about why Dazai hung up so fast. What did she want? Rampo asked, thinking about what it might be something worth note. We have less time than we thought, Dazai said, looking towards Rampo, who nodded at him seemingly understandingly. So, what's going on? Tanizaki asked, still very confused, getting a few nods from the others who were also confused. Chuya's cracking down on the rules despite the truce. Just this morning, the Mafia was given a no-contact order with us, Dazai said, watching it click in the others' minds. But that makes no sense, Atsushi said, Kyoka nodding to agree with him. What makes sense and what doesn't make sense doesn't matter. What makes sense and what doesn't make sense doesn't matter. What matters is that we have to find a way to contact anyone in the Mafia. There's no way to contact anyone in the Mafia unless we want to risk their life, Yoshino said, letting out a sigh. I think we're going to need some outside help, Rumpo says, grabbing his phone out of his pocket. Who do you have in mind, Rumpo-san? Atsushi asks, but instead of giving an answer, Rumpo starts to dial the number instead. Immediately, the person on the other end of the line picks up almost immediately. Hey, can you come to the agency? Rumpo said to the person on the phone. A brief pause. Awesome, see you soon. Rumpo then hangs up the phone. Well, I have one person on their way to help. And who was that? Yoshino says, eyeing Rumpo. Rumpo shrugs his shoulders. Should we ask that one girl for help too? She works in the cafe, right? Kenji asks, looking towards Atsushi. You mean Lucy? Right? We can ask her. Atsushi says, giving a shrug, looking towards Dazai, who nods at him. Alright, I'll head down and see if she's there, Atsushi says, waving off the others before heading out the door. See you in a little bit, Atsushi-kun, Dazai says, waving the boy off. You think Po and Lucy will be good help? He says, turning to Rumpo. Yeah, I think they could be useful. Plus, if we have them on our side, we can reach out to Francis if we need to, Rumpo says, giving a shrug and pretty much thinking it was worth a try. Atsushi quickly made his way downstairs, pushing the door open to the cafe. Ah, good morning, the cafe manager calls out to Atsushi. What can I do for you? He asks while cleaning the cups. Good morning, is Lucy here? Atsushi asks, looking around to see if he could find her. She left a little while ago to run some errands, but she should be back any time now. Just as he said that, the door to the cafe opened. I'm back, Lucy called out, her eyes landing on Atsushi. What are you doing here? She says, bringing the box of stuff to the counter. We are just wondering if you're willing to help us? Atsushi asks, with an unsure smile on his face. By we, I'm guessing meet the agency. What could you guys possibly need my help with? Lucy says, giving him a glare. Please, Lucy, it's hard to explain. Rumpo or Dazai-kun or Dazai-san will probably explain everything upstairs. Atsushi says, pleading with her to help. It seems I really need your help, Lucy. The manager speaks up. You should go ahead and help, he says, giving her a nod. Fine, let's go, Lucy says, walking out of the doors of the cafe, Atsushi following her. Bye, Atsushi calls out as he steps out. Thank you so much for helping us, Lucy, Atsushi says, smiling towards her. Shut up, I haven't totally agreed yet, Lucy says, rolling her eyes as the two of them make their way to the agency doors. Atsushi walks into the agency along with Lucy, both shocked to see Po. Atsushi because he had got there so fast, and Lucy, well, she hadn't seen him in quite some time. Hey, welcome back, Dazai says with a smile on his face. Yay, you got Lucy-chan to come, Kenji says, having a wide smile on his face. Kyoka simply just gives her a light smile. Edgar? Lucy says, clearly confused about why he was here. Oh, hello, Lucy. It's been a while. I don't know how to do Po's voice, so sorry about that. Po said, Oh, hello, Lucy. It's been some time. It's been a while. Geez, English. Po says, giving a slight smile to the girl. Yeah, it has been, she says, looking kind of sad while thinking about the times in the guild. Anyways, Rumpo says, standing on top of his desk, let's talk about our plan. Do you have one? Yoshino asks, an amused smile on her face. Meh, we'll figure it out as we go, Rumpo says, shrugging his shoulders, moving to sit on top of his desk. Well, first, how do we even get into the Mafia? Kunikita asks, figuring that it's something they should probably figure out first. Huh? Isn't that obvious? That's what her ability is for, Rumpo says, pointing to Lucy. We go into Annie's playroom. Tanizaki and Lucy stay on the outside so that they can sneak in. Rumpo says, looking towards Dazai to see if he has anything to add. I think either me or Kyoka should stay outside too. We know the Mafia are building the best. We wouldn't want Lucy or Tanizaki wandering around trying to figure out where to go. Dazai says, looking towards Kyoko to see what she would rather. Is it alright if you do it, Dazai-san? Kyoko quietly asks, not wanting to have to see much of the inside of that place again. Yeah, I can do that, don't worry, Dazai says, giving Kyoko a reassuring smile. Right. We'll use mine and Tadazaki's ability to get us into the building. But wouldn't you think they'd pick up on an ability user? Lucy says, crossing her arms, already annoyed. Also, Poe starts, you never told us why we're doing this. Poe says, looking towards Rampo for an answer. Oh, yeah, I don't want to explain, someone else can, Rampo says, leaning on his hands. I'll explain to you, Yoshino says, shaking her head at Rampo before turning to Lucy and Poe. Basically, Mori has supposedly died, but we don't believe it. And either way, something is odd with the new boss. We want to figure out what. Yoshino says, giving them a quick rundown of the situation. I see. Thank you for explaining, Yoshino, Poe says, giving a light smile. Yes, thanks. Now, back to my question, Lucy says, looking towards Dazai, since he said he knew about the Mafia. Last time I checked, no, they think they're too strong for that or whatever, Dazai said, giving a shrug. Yeah, we don't have to worry about that, but what about the guards around the boss's office? Kyoko says she had only been there once or twice, but she remembers it always being pretty heavily guarded. I can always deal with that when it comes to it, Dazai said, giving a thumbs up. I see. We came up with the whole plan? The president says, stepping into the main part of the office. Oh, my apologies, President. We forgot to inform you, Kunakita says, bowing towards him. It's alright. I heard most of it, Fukazawa says, looking towards Rampo. Will I be needed for this? You shouldn't be, but if you want to come along, you're free to, Rampo says, thinking about what could happen to the execution of the plan. Lucy cuts into his thinking. Okay, we get it. We get into the Mafia's building. We go up to the boss's office. Cool. Then what? I assume, what are we supposed to do when we're there? Lucy says, looking unamused at Rampo's childness. Meh? We kidnap Mr. Fancy Hat and take him inside Annie's room, Rampo says, looking towards Dazai to get his opinion. Sure, that can work. If something goes wrong, I can always come up with a plan on the spot, Dazai says, giving a slight nod. We can always come out of her room to help you guys out, Kenji says, clasping his hands together and a smile on his face. Alright, so when do we execute our plan? Kunakita said, ready to clear his schedule for that day. Well, as far as I'm aware, there should be no big meetings happening at the Mafia, so any day works. Dazai shrugs. The earlier the better, Rampo says, looking towards Poe and Lucy. When are you two free? I am free whenever, Poe says, willing to help Rampo with whatever he needs. Same as Poe, I'm sure the old man downstairs won't mind, Lucy says, shrugging. Well, it's Tuesday, how do we feel about tomorrow? Yoshino says, if they want it to be early, why not the next day? That works, let's plan for that, Rampo says, nodding. Alright, if we're going to do this, we need a good night's sleep. The president speaks up, walking towards the middle of the room. Everyone, including you two, he said, looking towards Poe and Lucy. Before going back to addressing the whole room, go home and get a good night's sleep so we're all ready. Understood? The president finishes. Yes, sir. He is heard throughout the room. The members of the agency bowing towards him. We should all meet here at 7 so we can go over the plan, Rumpo says, jumping off the desk and pulling a snack out of his pocket. And with that plan, hang on. And with that, we have a plan. We'll see you bright and early in the morning. Bright and early. We'll see you all bright and early, Yoshino says, walking towards the door of the agency. Bye guys, Kenji says, leaving the agency shortly after Yoshino. Slowly, the other members of the agency trickle out of the room until just Dazai and Rumpo are left. Worried about tomorrow? Rumpo asks, not making eye contact with Dazai, rather looking towards the wall. Yeah, but I trust our ability to work together, and I trust Chuya, Dazai says, standing up and heading towards the door. Dazai was about to step out of the agency when Rumpo called. Hey, just make sure you're ready for any possibility tomorrow, okay? There's always a chance our plan could fall through. Rumpo looks towards Dazai, doubt in his eyes, worried about the endless possibilities of what could happen tomorrow. Like I said, I'm sure everything will go alright, Dazai said, walking out to the agency, shutting the door behind him. Rumpo threw away the packaging of his snack. Once he was sure Dazai was far enough from the area, he opened the door and began to go home himself. Okay everyone, that was chapter 8 of Turning Tide. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'm sorry for all the stuttering. It's just, my English is not working with me today, even though it's my native language and it should always work, but it doesn't. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys next time. Make sure to take care of yourself. Yes, Fred, I'm watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!